We welcome you inside the XL Center. Top two teams in the Big East, UConn and Villanova. Jason Horowitz, Julianne Vianney-Brain, as UConn has now hit 6 unanswered. Aubrey Griffin with 4 straight points. Wildcats got the opening bucket from Maddie Siegrist, the nation's leading scorer, on a 3, and haven't been able to find any offense since. A foul called on UConn. It's on Aaliyah Edwards for a UConn lineup that has a couple of different players scoring more than 17 a game. Edwards, the leading scorer, at 17.5 a game, and Lou Lopez Seneschal, transfer from Fairfield, has been outstanding. Meanwhile, Maddie Siegrist, she is the nation's leading scorer at nearly 29 a game. The question, though, for Villanova, JV, is whether or not they can find a second and third consistent score. And they're just not able to find the range so far. Right,
I mean, that's something they're going to have to find. I mean, Lucy Olson has certainly come up big as a secondary scorer to Maddie Siegrist, but who can come up with that third double-digit scoring game?
We are starting to find a trend, though, here in the quarter. Christina Dulce just had her 3rd block in the first 3 minutes. Juhas for 3.
She's been impressive, and so has Juhas throughout this season. Juhas, another one, averaging a double-double. Despite all the injuries UConn has come across, they have players that have taken it as motivation, and they have really stepped up and been able to showcase their skills.
That's a big bucket for the sophomore. That answers a 9-0 UConn run. Villanova won in this building last year, snapping what was a 169-game conference winning streak. And how they did it was getting off to a great start and then holding on. You guys saw that on the first couple of possessions, but now they got to play catch-up.
Yeah, and you don't want to play catch-up against the Huskies, and that's a big key, is they've got to keep this as close as possible early.
Inside of 10 on the shot clock. Siegrist can get a shot off from anywhere, and she earns a trip to the free throw line.
You see that double team coming at Maddie Siegrist. She's going to see that all day, and she's used to it. Every team in the Big East and beyond will double team Maddie Siegrist. You'd be silly not to. You see the help is there. Juhas comes over. They're going to just make it a difficult day for Siegrist. We know that is in the game plan. I mean, we even talked to Coach Oriema today about her at shoot-around this morning, and he said, listen, if we don't cover her, she'll score 45. If we cover her, she'll score 30. So, you know, there's really no stopping Maddie Siegrist. She's just that explosive of an offensive player.
Now she's got 5 of their first 7. She has scored at least 21 in all 21 games this year. Consistency for the Big East preseason player of the year and an All-American. Juhas working hard down low. They can't find her. Lou Lopez Seneschal was off of Siegrist's foot. It looked from this angle like it was off Siegrist's foot, and that was the initial call, and now they changed that. So it will be Villanova basketball. Gino Oriema in his 38th season at the helm. Just 32 wins shy of 1,200. Meanwhile, Denise Dillon in her 3rd year at Villanova. Played there in the mid-90s. Top 15 scorer. And she's really helped build this program back to where it was a few years ago.
She really has. I mean, she played for Harry Perretta, and, you know, she got a lot of his style. That's what you do. You do what you know, and she's done a tremendous job just making it a little more up-tempo, a little more exciting offensively, but she's done a great job.
Juhas finishes. Well, she is known as a defensive-minded coach, and her team had a couple of good stints here, but again, it's so much you have to fight through here on the road. Siegrist to the bucket and got it between a pair of defenders.
That was a tough shot. I mean, Maddie Siegrist just makes some really difficult ones. And Nika Mule, you can't even say enough about the point guard from Croatia. Just a total competitor.
She has a single-game UConn record earlier this year, 15 assists against NC State. She was close to that on Thursday with 14 in the win at Tennessee. and she never came off the floor all 40 minutes.
She's just a real steady point guard. Every team needs a Nika Mule on the team. A pass-first point guard who doesn't get rattled.
Griffin going to work down low. And Burke getting a piece of the ball. Good action here in the early going. And for those of you watching our free streaming coverage, it will conclude after the commercial break, but we'll continue on CBS Sports Network. You can find us by going to cbssportsnetwork.com/channel finder. Now, fifth-ranked UConn up 15-9, two of the 11 national championships for Gino Auriemma. But those years also years they lost to Villanova back-to-back times. The last time the Wildcats did that. Jason Horowitz, Julianne Vianney-Brain, happy to have you with us here in Hartford. And you know, those seasons, your sister played on the Villanova teams. Those were massive games. This is a team that came into the Excel Center last year, Julianne, and beat UConn for the first time in 169 conference games. Huskies hadn't lost conference game since 2013.
You think about that, that's huge. I mean, that was a really big game for Villanova. I mean, and we've been talking about it throughout the broadcast. They came out hot in that game. They had a little more firepower offensively on their squad, but nonetheless, it's never easy to come in to this place and to beat a team like Connecticut, a women's powerhouse program. But when I talked to Denise Dillon about this, she said, we want that to be something that happens more often, right? Not just a fluke. So they're looking to do it again.
Mule with a 1 on the shot clock. They did not box out Edwards, and she earns a trip to the line. And to your point about that, we asked Denise Dillon about that win, and she said, hey, look, rebounding was crucial. We out-rebounded by 16. That can't happen.
Exactly, it can't. And Aaliyah Edwards has been such a beast on the glass. We saw her on Thursday night just go absolutely bonkers on the floor. She's just been incredible. She's doubled her point production from last season, has really taken it upon herself to be that go-to in the paint. And she's a big reason why rebounding's tough against them.
Yeah, she was the Big East Freshman of the Year. Disappointing sophomore season last year for the standards that she had set. But you're right, you talk of the last 4 games alone, including the 26 Tennessee on Thursday. She's averaging 22 a game.
Yeah, Coach Auriemma, he challenged her.
Bella Runyon threw it away, and Bella Runyon got it back.
And one thing you can't do against Connecticut, you can't beat yourself. Villanova is typically really good at taking care of the basketball. I mean, one of the best in the country.
Now back-to-back turnovers, though. So 17-9. And the Huskies had 33 points in the first quarter on Thursday. And, you know, despite all the injuries they've had, they are still a phenomenal offensive team.
They really are. And it's been the next man up mentality, so to speak, where they might have injuries, but other players have taken it as motivation to go out and showcase what they've got. And, you know, the cream rises to the top, and you've seen so many players really step up. I mean, I can't imagine this team fully healthy if you think about it.
No Paige Beckers out for the entire season. AZ Fudd has only played 9 games. The Huskies have played multiple games this year with only 7 healthy players. Ice Brady right there in the middle. One of the top recruits in all of college basketball. She's not playing all year. There's AZ Fudd. And, you know, everyone keeps asking.
One player after another.
Yeah, everyone keeps asking when she's coming back. She's got a big brace on her right leg.
Yeah, I mean, and Coach doesn't want to tell anyone because you know, you don't want to make any promises, right? And then the player doesn't come back as fast. But I'd expect to see her for sure this season, probably within the next couple weeks.
Olsen knocked it away, then tried to tap it off of Mule. And it was off of Villanova. Well, and this is the story that really, I mean, they had this problem last year too. AZ Fudd missed some time with foot injury. Paige Beckers missed a lot of last season. Came back and they made the run to the national championship game, but only 2 players, only Lou Lopez Seneschal and Edwards, excuse me, have played all 21 games.
It really is a story, and you can't get around it for the Huskies because they've got 2 of the best in the country, not even on the floor here, and then some, as we look at how nice this was of a little post-to-post action here. Good post entry pass from Edwards. And Dorka Juhas, who's been a revelation throughout this season. They've really needed her effectiveness. Now, when she first came to Connecticut, she was a little more up and down. She's just become a lot more consistent.
It's in both already 7 points here in the opening quarter for the 6'5" grad transfer from Hungary. Had 34 double-doubles in her time at Ohio State. She's got 7 this year. Great find inside and a beautiful put-in by Brooke Mullen.
And that is the way to run your offense, and those curl cuts are going to be open if you're Villanova. You just have to cut hard. That's the key, and this is a team that's always been a hard-cutting team.
Villanova wanted to travel. Instead, it's 2 more for Edwards.
And they're going to look to isolate Edwards. Edwards could have a field day in the paint.
Well, and that's a challenge, too. Villanova defensively, one of the best at preventing teams from being successful with 2-point shots. UConn certainly very effective with their front court. Great spin move, and now the offense starting to flow for Olsen and the Wildcats.
That was beautiful. I mean, what a nice hesitation to the hole, and Villanova's continued to be in attack mode.
4th turnover on UConn here in the opening quarter.
And Lucy Olsen has really taken that next step this season. A nice little hesitation, step through, move to the basket. She has been just an incredibly determined player. She's really taken that secondary scoring role to Segrist, and she's been phenomenal.
Olsen has 3 blocks on the defensive end, trying to get Runyon free. Dulcie's fouled by Aubrey Griffin.
And one thing Connecticut can't afford is to get into foul trouble. They really don't have a deep bench. And Griffin here just gets a little bit beat off the dribble by Dulcie.
Well, to your point, 8 players who are healthy and active. So staying on the floor with 2. Segrist left it long off the glass. UConn with 21 here in the first, the most points anyone has scored against Villanova in the first all year. And Nika Mule quickly adds to that.
She can really turn the Jets on. And even Coach Oriama was telling us this morning, sometimes I got to tell her to slow down. And all of a sudden, I look up and she's down the floor. And she is quick.
Runyon feeds the post inside. And beautiful body control by Dulcie not to pick up an offensive foul and get the bucket.
What's been impressive is Villanova has been poised. They have not gotten rattled whatsoever, and they're finishing their shots.
Going toe-to-toe on the road with the 5th-ranked team in the country. Great help defense by Segrist.
That's a really good defensive possession right there.
Extra pass. Griffin on the drive and puts it in. 5 seconds left in the quarter. Olsen stops, pops, can't hit. Now UConn had a 9-0 early first quarter run to take an advantage. The teams went back and forth after that. End of the first quarter. Back for the second coming up right after this. Maddie Segrist, Lou Lopez Seneschal back and forth, and you're watching CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Number 5, UConn up 8 at home against 21st ranked Villanova tonight at 8 Eastern. Watch the competition heat up as the world's best bull riders go head-to-head at the ZipRecruiter Invitational. Don't miss PBR Unleash the Beast right here on CBS Sports Network. Well, we have the nation's leading scorer in this game, Maddie Segrist, who Julianne Vianney-Brain, she was the preseason player of the year in the conference, but her consistency from what they even expected has been higher.
She's been so impressive, and Denise Dillon told us that she has become like a point guard on the floor. I mean, she plays 1 through 5, let's face it, that's how versatile she is, but she verbalizes things to her teammates talks them through things this year. She's just such a leader, and her biggest growth factor, she feels, is on the defensive end. I mean, Maddie's always been an offensive juggernaut, but her defense has really developed. She's really just kind of completed her game and become such a pro, and her poise is just unbelievable. But you can't say enough about her game.
She redshirted her freshman year, and then when she got going, she scored 19 a game as a redshirt freshman. So that's never stopped.
She's only improved every year of her career.
Olsen dribbled into traffic and hit the deck. It is a jump ball, but the arrow does point Connecticut's way.
And this is all about the hustle here, and so many things will come down to 50-50 balls, and UConn does a nice job there, poaching, double teaming, and stepping up to create that havoc. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a team in Villanova that does not turn the ball over at all.
Go inside to UConn. UConn does, though. That's a different story. They average nearly 17 turnovers a game. And that was the 5th right there for the Huskies. To your point for Villanova, though.
10 a game. They've only averaged 10. That was 2nd in the country. Going into this one, Colorado State is the only team in the nation that's ahead of them.
Olsen on the pull-up. If you talk about Seagrass progression, Olsen's emergence from her freshman to sophomore year to become that secondary scorer on this team has been huge. And on the defensive end gets the swipe.
Yeah, she's been terrific. And it's been fun for Coach Dillon to really watch Olsen's game grow. And it's happening in her sophomore season. A lot of times you see it in your junior year, but she's been phenomenal on cue. Just super aggressive, hunting down her shot right now. She understands the game, and she understands Denise Dillon's system.
And she's got 8 to lead Villanova. Coming off a 19-point performance where she had 8 rebounds and 7 assists. And they went at Creighton 9 days ago. UConn had it taken out of there, and Seagrass leading the break. Pulls up, quick release. Dulcie, the offensive board. Bodies on the floor, no foul. Lopez Seneschal bumped again, no call. And it'll stay UConn's basketball. A lot of contact.
Yeah, a lot of bodies on the floor. We knew this would be physical. If you watched that Tennessee game the other night with UConn, boy, that got chippy, didn't it? It got physical fast, and that's what you like. The juices are flowing. And Seneschal here up in transition. I think that could have been a foul, actually. That was missed.
Well, they didn't call it, and it looked like Seneschal was also the last to touch it. Either way, it's UConn basketball to feed into the post, and you feel it. And Dulcie was just called for her 2nd foul. And
frustrated.
You can sense that, right? Like the physical nature that you were just talking about. You can feel it right now.
Leah Edwards trying to get her position, and Dulcie just trying very hard to get around her, and she's just so strong.
Megan Olbrey's the freshman from Massachusetts now checks in. That is a tall task to come off the bench and try and check Edwards. But it's Edwards who's called for the foul, and that's her 2nd.
Yeah, Edwards getting physical here.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, the injuries, it's not new to this story for this season. But Edwards has 2, Griffin has 2, and UConn has not gone to the bench yet here in this first half.
They can't pick up a 3rd, or they've got to come out. And like we've said, they can't afford to be on the bench. And as we see, Maddie Burke drain one from distance.
Well, Julianne, all of a sudden a 7-0 run to start the 2nd quarter, and it's a 1-point game.
And that is what Maddie Burke does. She's emerged this season as one of their top 3-point shooters.
Lopez Seneschal didn't get enough room. And Villanova, who had a 3-0 lead on the opening possession, has a chance to regain the advantage here in the 2nd quarter.
We saw we saw UConn get tired on Thursday night. They've got to play their starters a lot of minutes, so you can wear them down. To a degree. They're in excellent shape.
You say that, they still pulled away and beat Tennessee by 17. Ross on the inside. All kinds of physical nature.
They tried to really isolate her against Siegrist down low. That was a position I thought Gino Auriemma thought he could start to utilize throughout this game to go at Siegrist.
Paige Becker's on the sideline for UConn, who's going to take a timeout here with 6:29 to go in the half. UConn hasn't scored in the second quarter, 3.5 minutes in. UConn's 8-point first quarter lead down to 1 with 6:29 to go in the half. It was last February where Villanova, unranked, came in on the road. Maddie Siegrist had a double-double. Wildcats got out to a huge lead. They held on late. AZ Fudd and company had a charge, but Villanova beat 8th-ranked UConn by 3. It was the first time in 169 games UConn had lost a conference game. It helped Denise Dillon win Big East Coach of the Year, Julianne Vianney-Brain, and it helped Villanova make the NCAA tournament as an 11 seed.
And Denise Dillon told us that in the moment, she didn't realize how big of a win it was for the program. And we asked her about that. The players, and they were all just kind of going to the next game. They had so many games competitively that week. But now that they've reflected, you know what UConn is. It's that sustained success. And the best has to beat the best, right? So that's what they're trying to do at Villanova. And that was a pretty big moment for her career and for this program.
And their goal, obviously, not to let it be a one-time thing. And Runyon threw it into traffic. So it'll go back to UConn.
It also shows that her team can stick to a game plan. I mean, they stuck to a game plan last year, and it gives the program confidence when that can happen. And this team, there's players back. They've got confidence that they can play. Now, the youngins that have not been here, that's the question mark. You don't know until you're on the floor with UConn what it feels like. I mean, I played against them a long time ago now, but you know, it's a different feel.
But when you were playing, though, at the 04, 05, 06 time, I mean, they were winning national championships. Diana Taurasi was here in company.
Oh, yeah, they were at the absolute apex of how well they were doing, and somebody is down.
Yeah, that's Lou Lopez Seneschal down on the floor.
Certainly, I'm sure Coach Auriemma and company cringe every time they see a player go down. Aubrey Griffin here comes down with the board.
Runyon coming in. I remember Lou Lopez Seneschal, her one and only year here in UConn. Transfer from Fairfield, great score. She'll get a seat on the bench for Ayanna Patterson, who, remember, she just came back on Monday from concussion protocol.
Right, it's one player after the other that has to step in. But Lou Lopez has been quite the revelation coming from the MAC.
Edwards right around Olbrys.
What a move. I mean, and this is the thing, Aaliyah Edwards has really taken it to heart. Coach Auriemma told her, you know, you need to get better, and it's not just for our sake, but for your sake in terms of your future and the WNBA and your desire to get there. And she really worked hard this season, improved her perimeter game, became a threat outside.
Jump ball will stay with Villanova. They really need Maddie Siegrist to get going. She's just 2 of 9 from the floor.
They're doing what they said they would do to her. They're going to make it tough all day, and they've got to find her ways to get open.
You'll take 8 points, but 9 shots is a lot.
Yeah, and Aubrey Griffin's on her. You know, they played each other in high school. Aubrey Griffin played at Ossining. They did play against each other numerous times when Siegrist was at Lourdes. Familiar with each other in terms of that, and we're seeing a lot more minutes from Griffin with all these injuries.
Nova chipped away. It was down to a 1-point deficit. Aubrey Griffin, those got 10, and the lead pushed back to 7.
Q, super athlete. She's so confident right now in so many ways because Coach Auriemma can't take her out with all the injuries. This is it. She can play through her mistakes.
Well, after that timeout by Gino Auriemma, UConn has gone on a 6-0 run. 5 on the timer. Olsen the 3. Runyon was all there. Look what I found.
Wide open. Nobody even putting a body on her.
Dad was an offensive lineman a long time in the NFL. He never got that many easy looks.
I thought Edwards walked, but they got away with it.
And now a timeout taken by Villanova. Great environment, as always, here. UConn been pushed, been tested, and I think we expected some of that here, and it's a 7-point game.
You know, you think about UConn's schedule as of late, they've had a lot of tough games in a row. Couple days break after Thursday's physical challenge. And that's the way to get it into Maddie Siegrist and draw some contact. And Aubrey Griffin just picking up her 3rd. That's a big foul. I mean, that's the way to do it. And Maddie Siegrist, one of the best in the nation at drawing contact.
Well, Griffin has been their offensive weapon today. 12 points, but as you said, 3 fouls. But there's nobody at the scorer's table.
There's nobody that Coach Auriemma can really put in, and that's why your game plan against UConn right now is attack mode. And he can't even sit Lou Lopez-Seneschal very long.
And as soon as I said that nobody was at the scorer's table, Gino Auriemma, I think, got the word. Oh, 3 fouls. He checked in. Lopez-Seneschal, who's shaken up a couple of possessions, goes back in.
Don't have a whole lot to look for on the bench.
Ewell inside the arc. Now, UConn has been dominant for the most part here on the boards. They have out-rebounded Villanova by 8 inside, and another turnover.
Villanova's getting cuts. They're getting open looks in the lane.
So you like what they're running against UConn?
I like the movement, and that's one thing about Denise Dillon's team that they do well.
Siegrist pulls from 3. Well, as you'd expect with someone who's a 28-point-a-game scorer, she certainly can hit those 40% three-point shooter.
And she has to pull the trigger for them to be successful, and that's a nice little backdoor cut. But good defense from Aaliyah Edwards, just jumping out and anticipating that. We saw them working on things at shoot-around, and that's what Gino Auriemma was saying. I mean, you guys have to be prepared for these slip cuts. They're going to be slipping, they're going to be curling constantly, and it really keeps the defense on your toes.
Good look for Lucy Olsen on the out-of-bounds play. 2 top teams in the Big East. Villanova on a 9-game winning streak. UConn on a 12-game winning streak. 2 ranked teams in this conference. Edwards on the drive, and it looked like it might have gone off her leg, but they do keep this UConn basketball.
I'll tell you what, Lucy Olsen gets a piece of everything. Look how she just kind of digs, but she doesn't foul, she digs. And that's what you need to do if you're a guard on the perimeter, and she's getting a piece.
She might have been right.
I think so too.
Inside of 2 minutes to play here in the opening half. 2 left on the timer. Ewell finally sees it, scoops it up and in.
That's the kind of gamer Ewell is. Give me the ball with the shot clock winding down, and she will make something happen, whether she's passing or she's able to score herself.
Siegrist triple team. Kick into the corner to Brooke Mullen. UConn was up by 8 at the end of the first. Villanova running a 7-0 run. Got it down to 1. Back to a 7-point game, and Siegrist beats the buzzer.
That's the way to stay poised and to get the ball into your top player. That's a tough shot. I mean, Maddie Siegrist makes a lot of those where she's fading away, and it's hard to defend that.
Laying off Aaliyah Edwards, giving her a little bit of space. UAS has already hit 1 from 3. You know Lopez Seneschal can hit from anywhere.
You see that double came right at her. That was a solid defensive play. Villanova's been very good defensively. They've been on the balls of their feet.
Denise Dillon told us yesterday, first 5-6 minutes were going to be crucial. They didn't play great in the first 5 or 6 minutes, but they got a chance here to go into the locker room down by just 2 or 3.
To hold UConn to 35 points here in a half. You don't see that too often.
Long rebound, Mule hit, no foul. On a conversation over there on the UConn bench that's happening right now.
We certainly saw Coach Oriama get heated up at halftime against Tennessee on Thursday night.
He didn't like how the way the officiating was in the first half, and
he let him know it.
Absolutely, and let all the country know. Another turnover. Olsen got in there. Does not beat the horn, didn't have a shot at the bucket anyway. But a 5-point game as we will go to the locker room here in a very heated battle in Hartford. End of the first half. Denise Dillon's squad hanging around. 5-point game. We'll send you to Brent Stover in New York with Christy Winter-Scott. AT&T at the half. Right after these messages. Mack and Hartford getting set for the start of the third quarter. Score was changed at halftime. They went back during the break, looked at the Nika Mule bucket that they thought beat the buzzer. She did not get it off of her fingertips, so they took off 2 points. So that score is correct, 33-30 at the break. Jason Horwitz, Julianne Vianney-Brain, happy to have you back with us here. Villanova's defense in the first half holding UConn to its second fewest point total in a first half all season.
10 points. I mean, that was a phenomenal second quarter for Villanova, and that's what's kept them in this ball game. To hold UConn to just 35 points or 33 points and a half is pretty remarkable. Maddie Siegrist hasn't even had the kind of night that we're used to seeing her have. She's been held down. They've been making it difficult for her. 3 of 12 from the floor, but 11 points still. That's been, I think, a key. And Aubrey Griffin on the other side for Connecticut has been the leading scorer. She's really been asserting herself, finding some offense for UConn, where they have struggled a little bit in the first half.
Yeah, she's the only Husky in double figures with 12. They did have 10 first half turnovers, but the other big number for Aubrey Griffin, Julianne, is the fact that she had 3 first half fouls. And as we've discussed ad nauseum in this game, UConn, with all the injuries, does not have a lot of depth. And Maddie Siegrist took it to her a couple of times and picked up a couple of those fouls. And I think you'd expect to see that again.
Yeah, I think that this quarter is really pivotal. We saw UConn come out against Tennessee on Thursday night and really take it to them early after halftime. They got a break. Remember, this team is thin in the bench. They get tired a little bit easier than in years past where Gino had anyone he could turn to.
Olsen, good look at a 3. They did not hit from deep often. Villanova was 2 of 10 in the first half for beyond the arc. On rebounding, another big story. That was huge last year in the upset win at UConn. They outboarded the Huskies by 16. Not do well on the glass in the first half. Different results here in the early going of the third quarter. Olsen pulls up from the elbow. Now this large crowd on hand wants to sit because they want to see UConn hit a shot. But everybody's still standing here as we're more than a minute into this third quarter. Villanova on a 9-game winning streak. They have not lost a true road game all season long. Olsen steps back. Dulcie, who missed a good portion of the first half with 2 fouls, is back in. Top 2 teams in the Big East. UConn at 11-0. Villanova's only loss was the Big East opener and a loss to Creighton that they avenged 9 days ago when they had the rematch with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they've been tremendous ever since. And St. John's, a team here that's come on strong. They did not play a really tough non-conference schedule, which might hurt them in the end, but they've been really impressive. We got probably 4 teams in the Big East that could make it feasibly to the NCAA tournament, Jason.
Well, these two for sure.
And you got St. John's. Now, St. John's really needs to win the rest of their games, I think. They could lose to UConn and still get in, but that's a whole nother story. But they've got a few teams that could do it. Marquette needs some help.
Lee Segrist, her first points of the second half. The only made bucket here in this third quarter. Lopez Seneschal got a good look. Well, Julianne, the start of the second quarter, UConn went nearly 4 minutes without a point. And they're 2.5 minutes into this third quarter without a point.
A credit to Villanova's defense. We've talked a lot about Denise Dillon. That is her MO.
Villanova's last lead was a 3-2 advantage. That was 1:10 into this ball game. But Denise Dillon's team here, well, they're going to have to take a look here at the clock. It's still running, so her team, she just glanced up at the shot clock. So they're going to get a pause here, and she's going to get a chance to talk about a play. But her team on the road, Julianne, they got off to a first possession bucket, and then they saw UConn go on a 9-0 run, but they have been gritty. They have responded this entire time, and they are right here as we've got a clock malfunction. So we're going to take a look at this and see just how much time has come off the clock. So it's out of bounds with about 7:23 and maybe 11 on the shot clock.
Yeah, I think 11-ish is where we'll reset it. It kept running.
Well, it's still running.
Yeah, some issue here with the shot clock.
Well, there's certainly no mercy rule in a one-point game in Big East basketball in the third quarter where you play running clock. You probably played a few high school games with that, right?
Yeah, we did. New York, we didn't. Some states actually did play running clock. It depended on the state. Or having a technical issue here, we're being told, with the clock.
Well, Gino Ariema's squad is, maybe this is a benefit because remember, he needed that timeout. Maybe they need that break.
Yeah, but they just had a halftime, and any extra time they can get off their legs is always a positive for this team.
Huskies last year made the run all the way to the national championship game, falling to Dawn Staley in South Carolina. Brought so much back. Lou Lopez Seneschal has been a great piece that they brought over from Fairfield, but then Paige Beckers gets hurt. Ice Brady doesn't play all season. They've been dealing with the injuries to AZ Fudd.
He said back in June when they were watching them practice, it was like this team is like the Golden State Warriors. Like, they are incredible. They had so much talent. To see each of them go one by one, they just kept falling like flies. It was hard to watch. But for a number of years, Gino Ariema said he did not have a lot of injuries in his career. So he almost feels like it's payback for all the years he went without injuries. But they're making do. They're making more than do this season with what they've got. 25 points in the first quarter, Jason. Since it's been 8 points, it's been Villanova's defensive style that has been impressive, and they've not beaten themselves. That's the key. Villanova doesn't beat themselves. They're not fouling too much. They're not turning it over.
Got the clock set, so there's now 8 left on the shot clock for Bella Runyon. They go to work trying to get a lead. Segrist, tough jumper, and she's fouled. And we'll get an opportunity at the free throw line to put Villanova in front for the first time since early in this game.
And that's the way to get your star the basketball. And Maddie Segrist does a good job here creating that contact. She's got to continue to manufacture points, find them wherever she can get them, get to the rim, get to the foul line, and that's what she just did there.
She hits. So we are tied. And Villanova's got the lead.
Segrist plays with such confidence.
Now, one other thing there on that foul. She picked up the third on Aaliyah Edwards. So 3 fouls on their leading scorer. 3 fouls on Griffin, who today has been UConn's leading scorer.
Yeah, huge to have those 2 in foul trouble. They have to play more tentatively, so you take it at them at any moment you can.
Mullen got some space. Segrist battling for the boards, trying to roll it out. and they get an offensive rebound. It was like bowling on the ground.
UConn still yet to score.
Olsen, great find, couldn't control it.
Lou Lopez needs to get some touches here.
She's got one in a little bit of space. UConn has started this second half 0 for 7 from the floor.
And the fans are still standing, Jason, which we all know. They don't sit until you score if you're Connecticut.
What a feat it would be to take UConn to the under 5 immediate timeout and keep them standing. Lucy Olsen hits again. She's got 10, and it's a 6-0 run.
Lucy Olsen has tremendous talent and skill. That mid-range game, she's just utilizing it here.
Uhas can't get him to sit.
There is a lid on the basket here for the Huskies, and that just proves they're tired. Lots of games in a row.
Well, they're also not really able to get running, which is so much a part of UConn's game. Dulcie with a wide open look.
Villanova's got a way about them that slows teams down.
Edwards had it blocked. Dulcie's 4th block in this game.
She's been incredible. Her timing as a shot blocker has gotten really good. She's worked on that. She has stayed out of foul trouble.
And it is out of bounds, which will send us to a break. UConn fans will have to stay standing because Villanova's defense outstanding.
And Dulcie has been all over on the defensive end, using her body and not fouling, and Villanova up 3.
On Thursday night, UConn battled back from a bad second quarter at Tennessee to regain control in the third. Different story this afternoon at home against Villanova. They had 8 points in the second quarter. They have yet to score here in the third.
Villanova has stayed on assignment defensively. They have really done a phenomenal job just staying in front and really not allowing Connecticut to score. And look at the fans, Jason, they're still standing. I mean, I'd like to know if that's ever happened. I really wonder if we had like a research team go into that.
Well, the last, how long into a quarter or a half they've had to go without sitting. Look, it's customary in a lot of places around the country to stand until you score the first bucket of a half.
But the first 5 minutes for UConn, I don't know if that's ever happened.
And Segrist out of the timeout buries another. Villanova's got its largest lead of the ballgame.
Another thing they have shored up is they have evened out the rebounding battle. That was really off in the first half. It was much more UConn bias. So they've done a better job rebounding.
Lee Edwards playing with 3 fouls. So too Aubrey Griffin on the drive. Great pull-up. And they're now 0 of 10 in the third.
Yeah, the legs really showing fatigue here.
Runyon an open look. Mule trying to push UConn into the scorer's book. On the drive, and she draws the foul. That is on Lucy Olsen. That is her second. It was on the floor. Now, Villanova surprised a lot of people when they won in this building last February. It is a different program, though. They made the tournament last year for the first time in 4 years, the first under Denise Dillon. But look, they're 18-3. They're right there neck and neck with UConn in this conference, and they expect to come in here and win.
Yeah, they're one of the best in the country, too, and they want to prove that. And it does take beating the best to be the best, like we keep saying. And that's a great backdoor cut and pass from Dorka Uhas, something Connecticut really needed. Just an offensive play where they could execute and get a good pass. Just a little bit of a late switch there and help D. And Lou Lopez, who's been phenomenal all season.
Now she's the only active player that is shooting 50% from the floor, 50% from three, 90% at the line, and now they can sit. 6 minutes, 27 seconds of game time. We had the stoppage for the clock issue. We had the media timeout. What would you estimate about? We had 12 minutes of actual time of them standing?
And listen, it's still a three-point game. So for UConn to go that long without scoring, but to only be down 3, it's not such a bad thing for Connecticut when you look at the numbers. But a great job by Villanova.
Yeah, to your point, Villanova only scored 8 points in that near 7 minutes. Siegrist hits again. Yeah, she struggled in the first half. You highlighted that at the break, but she has gotten going here in the third.
And you know she will. I mean, that's the kind of player she is. It's only a matter of time as Mika Mule makes a nice move to the hole. And I liked how Gina Auriemma said she's got a Jen Rosati type quality about her. Just real cool.
Tapped around, rebound UConn, and Griffin fouled by Siegrist. That is her second. Now Saturday at 2 Eastern, more women's hoops coming up as Wagner squares off with best team in the Northeast Conference, Fairleigh Dickinson. You can watch it here on CBS Sports Network. FDU, the best team. Wagner just a half game back. 3-point lead for Villanova here on the road. 2.5 to play.
And both teams locked in here.
Uhas got good position, and because of that foul near half court, Maddie Siegrist didn't want to pick up her third either.
Exactly, and Dorka Uhas knew it. She got deep enough in the paint where there was no stopping her. She caught it that low.
Siegrist has 8 here in the third quarter. Inside of 2 minutes, Burke gets a clean look and drills it.
And Maddie Burke, if she can start to get hot, she can get a bunch in a hurry from 3.
This is her second triple of the ball game. She came into this with 50 made threes, and it's last touch by Villanova. Now, they have done a really good job on Aaliyah Edwards. Just 6 points this afternoon after the tear she's been on over the last couple of weeks.
They've really put bodies on her, and they've made it difficult. Villanova is excellent in defensive communication, and they switch a lot, too. I mean, it's not like one player is always on one person. So as a team, they have really been consistently doubling and being physical with Edwards. You've got to be able to be physical with her, because she's a force. And this is where Siegrist can be tough. She takes a player like Edwards out on the perimeter.
She's also so crafty with her footwork, which Edwards has to be careful playing with 3 fouls, and they feed the post. Siegrist faces up and hits. Maddie Siegrist with 21 again, every game this year.
Maddie Siegrist catches it with the will to score, and she raises her hand above her shoulders. She really keeps the ball high, and that's an offensive, I think. That looked like a push, unless it was just a sell.
Well, it was a loud thud is what it was when she hit the floor. Villanova trailed at the half by 3. Wildcats have a 4-point lead. About a 14-second differential between the game clock and shot clock.
And you see all the movement here from Nova. They can continue to move the ball.
Battle under the boards, and Edwards has it. UConn can hold for the last shot.
UConn hasn't gotten out and run today. That's been a key. They have played in a half court. Credit to Villanova.
Kick into the corner. Griffin gave up the 3 for a 2, and she's fouled by Burke. So Aubrey Griffin will go to the free throw line with 2 seconds left.
Griffin's been a bright spot here for the Huskies today, and Gina Auriemma told us that she is, in a sense, like an X factor. She's somebody who, when she plays well, they definitely play a little bit better, and she has been really consistent this year. And like I said earlier, she doesn't have to be afraid of being pulled out this season as a junior because of the injuries, and so she's playing a lot more free, and her skill has been rising to the top.
Two seconds to see if they can get a final shot. Olsen trying to beat the buzzer. It doesn't go, but for only the third time this season, UConn trails to the fourth. We'll have the final 10 minutes coming up after these messages. You're watching CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Well, after holding UConn to its second fewest first half points, they held the Huskies to their fewest third quarter points, and Maddie Siegrist went off in the third quarter.
She has certainly come alive. She's 4 of 6 from the field this quarter, or in the third, and she had 10 points, and that's after having a 3 of 12 first half type shooting day, and so she has really come alive. She's been aggressive. She hasn't gotten down at all with the tenacity and physicality that has been they've been trying to make it hard for her to get good looks, but she's just that good where she's going to create shots for herself and get open looks, and she's been tremendous.
Now that 21 is the number. She has scored 21 or more in every game this season, the nation's leading scorer at nearly 29 a game.
It's really an impressive number.
Maddie Burke off the curl, does not get the bounce, but Uhas and Edwards didn't communicate, and so a fresh 20 for the Wildcats. You know, Auriemma's team, 12-game winning streak, has not lost a conference game since losing on this floor to Villanova last year. What a shot again!
Just one-on-one basketball right there. And Maddie Siegrist making a fadeaway jumper. That's not an easy one to guard.
Wildcats have Dulcie back on the floor. Remember, she's got 4 blocks, but had those 3 fouls. That's a great move.
They can continue to go to Uhas. I mean, Uhas has really made herself known in the paint. She's got 13 points here.
Olsen, great find. Dulcie rips off an offensive rebound.
And a good save, though, even after the miss, to get the extra possession here.
Mullen knew she was going to shoot it. She was running right at us, and you saw her smile when she went back to get the ball. And Olsen got hit on the arm, and that is the 4th foul on Aubrey Griffin.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem for UConn, and Olsen knows, hey, I got to attack, and just not a smart foul for Aubrey Griffin. You know that you've got 3. You got to let that go at this point in the game.
So, knowing where we are in this game, knowing the fact that the bench doesn't play a lot, knowing the fact that she played with 3 fouls in the first half, she's not coming off the floor with 8
You have no
40.
choice, and that's where Villanova at this point in the game can take advantage of the fact that Connecticut's got foul trouble. That means you take it at them. If they're not going to foul you, they're going to let you have the layup. They're going to let you have the shot. So shots are going to be available here for Villanova. They just have to be the aggressors. And UConn has to play smart. I mean, bottom line, they've got to move their feet, get to positions, and they've got to find ways to score. They're just struggling offensively.
Edwards said 3 Wildcats around her. Trying to get back on the defensive end.
UConn tends to thrive.
Oh. Blocking call on Lou Lopez Seneschal.
Yeah, another foul.
What'd you think?
She's a little late. She tried to cut off the baseline. She's not in foul trouble, so it's not a big deal.
Siegrist lowered the shoulder, and again.
See, that's what she's got all day here. Because people are not going to foul her. She will be open.
Julianne, Villanova has its largest lead of the ball game.
Nova's getting everything they want right now.
Uhasz threw that right through Olsen's arms. Griffin. Those aren't falling. UConn is now 1 of 7 from beyond the arc.
And it is just not falling right now for Connecticut. Ball goes out here. It's Villanova basketball, but one thing UConn thrives on is forcing teams to turn it over, and that's how they get their run game going, and they have not done that so far to Villanova, so they haven't gotten the run game going.
Well, and you highlighted this at the beginning. Yes, that's a turnover.
But it hasn't been a lot.
It hasn't been a lot, no. They're the second best in the country. They turn it over 10 times a game, and they haven't let UConn get out and run because all the turnovers, all 7 of them almost, have all been dead ball turnovers.
Which is, if you're going to turn it over, that's when you do it, not the live ball turnovers. That's where UConn can destroy you.
A whistle and a foul on Dulcie. That is her 4th. Now they called that on the floor, and so now Denise Dillon has a choice to make with her big, and she's gonna, well, she leaves her in for right now. Playing against Edwards with 4 fouls. And let her go.
Yeah, well, that's what's gonna happen, and Edwards knew it. And she's got to attack without herself getting an offensive.
Well, Olbreeze is waiting to check in. So Dulcie has to play with 4 fouls and stay in this ball game.
They need her matchup-wise.
Deep in the shot clock. Mullen trying to find Siegrist. Instead, it's Burke. That was never online.
Yeah, that was a tough shot. Probably should have went into Siegrist there.
Tough entry pass out of bounds. Turnover number 13 for UConn.
Some forced passes into the post. Connecticut having a hard time getting offense from their guards here.
Denise Dillon checked out. Christina Dulcie with her 4 fouls. She has certainly had a defensive impact with her 4 block shots. And they continue to control the paint on the defensive end with her on the bench. And an offensive foul. Siegrist was trying to roll around a screen. Olsen called for moving. That is her 3rd.
Yeah, they're trying to run their sets here. And Olsen sets, she's kind of scissored. When she sets that screen, she's not really square.
Kick out to Mule. Buries a triple.
Well, that got the crowd going.
They've been waiting here in the second half to erupt. Olsen, and fouled on the way up. It is on Nika Mule. That is just her 1st. What'd you think?
It was the right call. She was kind of coming from the side. Anytime you're coming from the side and you use your body to bump a player who is going up for a shot, that's a foul. She hasn't been fouling at all today. That was her 1st. But a good job from Olsen.
Well, as rough as the 3-point shooting has been for both teams, Julianne, that is the 1st missed free throw of this ball game.
That's pretty impressive. That's how fundamentally sound these 2 squads are. The best teams in the nation don't miss foul shots, and they don't turn it over.
As much as it has felt like Villanova has been in control in the second half, UConn is right there. That would have tied this game.
They are. As poorly as their offense for a team with the kind of firepower they typically have, they're still only down 2.
Foul was on the pass. called on Lopez Seneschal.
Another nice job from Lucy Olson. She really goes downhill with a lot of ease and draws a lot of contact.
Segrist with 25 points in this ball game. Could not put Villanova back up by 2 scores. You're on the run. Griffin on the drive. They'll have to earn it at the free throw line. What a ball game here in Hartford. 2 best in the Big East going toe-to-toe. Can Villanova win at UConn for a 2nd straight year, up by 2? When we are done, our coverage of women's college hoops continues. 8-10 action. St. Joe's travels to face Richmond. Keep it right here on CBS Sports Network. Chick Hernandez, Leah Secundo. When we are done, they will be there. Where St. Joe's, one of the better teams in the 8-10, certainly on the turnover aspect of things in a league that is certainly highly contested towards the top. Here in Hartford, well, battle of stars in the front court. Maddie Segrist, without doubt, has gotten the better of Aaliyah Edwards today.
She certainly has, and Aaliyah Edwards has struggled, just 8 points and 3 of 9 from the floor. Hasn't forced a lot, and Maddie Segrist has just gone off here, especially in the second half. She's really stuck with it. But a really excellent job on Edwards, who has been so difficult to slow down because she is the threat on all 3 levels, but Segrist is too. And the play of Villanova on the defensive end is really what's kept them in this, but they've continued to have answers offensively.
But we're tied.
And Griffin has been playing extremely confident.
Villanova has played from in front since the 8-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Need a bucket here to continue that streak.
The start of the 3rd was pivotal.
UConn's got a chance to regain the lead. The entry to Uhas. It's tapped around, and Olson saves it in the corner.
That's good hustle right there. The play of Lucy Olson has been really impressive on both ends of the floor. She's handled the pressure. She's gotten a lot of 50-50s, and she's scored and deflected.
Segrist right in the paint. Not sure she knew exactly how far over she was.
Yeah, it's a tough shot. She was draped.
Griffin on the drive. UConn's got the lead and a chance for 3.
And this is something Aubrey Griffin is so capable of. She's got such a long stride. It doesn't take her long to get to the rim, and she does a nice job here absorbing the contact and the finish, and that was a better job from Connecticut running the floor a little bit. We haven't seen them do that.
Now, not only did Aubrey Griffin put UConn back in front, she just gave UConn the chance to play some defense without Lucy Olson on the floor, who picked up her 4th foul.
And she won't be out for too long, but they can't afford to put her back in here.
Timeout taken. UConn back in front, trying to defend its home floor. Emotions running high. Doesn't just feel like an end of January regular season conference game. It's tight. It's contested. And UConn knows that they lost on this floor to Villanova last year, which snapped a 169-game conference winning streak. And Denise Dillon's squad has been tooth and nail the entire game, and frankly, in the second half, has been the better ball club until the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, they've done it in every aspect, especially the defensive end of the floor, and I've harped on that the whole game. And they've been able to maintain a lead. Now, UConn just taking advantage here.
Runyon throws it high off the glass. That's a tough shot out of the timeout. Both teams 4 fouls. But both teams shooting free throws the rest of the way. Oriole trying to stay in front of Griffin.
Griffin is going to take, I think, this ball game over. She's going to look to score. She's been that bright spot, and she's doing a great job here getting to the post and then demanding the ball, and she's been aggressive to the rim. They're going to keep going to her.
She's really been the only consistent scorer the entire game.
Yeah, Coach Oriana is so funny when he talks about Aubrey Griffin. I mean, it's one of those things where he said she's just developed so much this season. She missed a couple uncharacteristic free throws there.
Oh, remember, Aubrey Griffin had back surgery last year. Was using a cane.
Her back surgeon is the unsung hero.
That's right.
That's for sure.
Olsen back in the game. Count it. And a chance to tie.
I told you Olsen could not stay out for very long, and this is just a great job with body control, finishing strong. She makes some very contorted shots. You just can't really believe some of the shots that she makes. And she's got 15 on the day, 16 now. And they need her on the floor.
Now Villanova and Denise Dillon said they didn't realize just how big it was to win here last year until after the season. But it's a different feeling. It's not a hope, it's an expectation.
They have the confidence, right? You do it once and you have that confidence.
Olsen finding Mullen and just let her 2-4.
That needed to be a bounce pass. But in the moment, you're just so excited, but this would have probably been a better bounce pass. Although, either way, just a missed opportunity there.
Well, and you wonder too, playing with 4 fouls, not wanting to get too aggressive, with Mule back there to take the charge.
Mule actually played real good defense there. She got back into that pocket and forced the decision.
Lopez Seneschal, tough shot over Siegrist, who saves it inbounds. We approach 2 minutes to go here in Hartford. UConn led the first half. Villanova's led for most of the second half. Trying to regain the advantage. Dalsey with the offensive board. And a tie-up will give UConn the ball back.
Yeah, Dalsey's really found the ball, though. She gets a piece of everything. You see here Olsen with the miss. When she comes down, she's got really good hands, but nice defense there from the Huskies, just draping that basketball.
Griffin on the kick to Mule. Uhas left wide alone.
Yeah, they begged her to shoot that, and she was wide open.
She's got 16. She's made 2 threes for back-to-back games.
And she shoots just 25% from out there. Well, that's a biggie.
Nova's got to have a response. Burke. Now, a timeout was taken before she took the shot. Denise Dillon wants a better look. Villanova's got to find an answer.
Welcome back to the Excel Center, and you gotta love the way that this little pick and pop play worked here for Dorka Uhas. Just a phenomenal job popping out, and then the defense just got lost there. Maddie Burke got stuck underneath the basket, and she really made Villanova pay. But nice teamwork, and Uhas has really been phenomenal today. 16 points, she's played steady, and she's really found her positions on the floor. She made them pay.
Villanova just 1 timeout remaining. See what they draw up. They draw up an open look for Dalsey on the drive. There's contact. But Edwards came flying in for the rebound. UConn still has 3 timeouts remaining. 1 minute to go.
That's a lot of timeouts that you can take.
The dump down, Edwards in deep position. The double and a foul, and she's down on the floor. Brooke Mullen came up holding her ankle, but she is back up.
Yeah, she tried to double team Edwards here. Edwards caught it pretty deep in the lane, and looks like she did hurt that ankle.
When Aaliyah Edwards trying to find the floor, kind of rolled over that left ankle for Brooke Mullen.
Hey, I hope she's all right. She got off the court okay, which is a good sign.
So Aaliyah Edwards at the line, trying to put UConn up 2 possessions. A 78% free throw shooter. Huskies up 5. They're trying to get Seegers the basketball. Burke for 3. Good offensive rebound by Oriole. Olsen was bumped, steps in, leaner off, tapped around. Huskies ball. Now they're going to go to the monitor and take a look. So we're going to take a review here to make sure this is UConn basketball.
Yeah, they want to get it right here, and they're able to review it.
That should be a pretty quick review.
I think so. It was tipped. Now, you hear the crowd here. This is where it can get really difficult when you're an opponent coming into this place where UConn gets the rhythm. This game is not over, that's for sure. It's a good timeout here. It's going to be UConn ball. Now, I think that's what it looks like here to me.
I can't tell as clearly from that angle, but the first one that we saw, it absolutely looks like it hits the left hand
there,
of Caitlin Oriole.
There I saw it.
Right
a little bit more clearly,
right there.
From Oriole. The ball changed direction.
Now they're over at the monitor still confirming. Villanova picked a rough time to go scoreless for more than 2.5 minutes. Remember, they led this game 51-45 with 8 minutes to play. And UConn since then has gone on a 15-4 run. Now, to me, it looks pretty clear.
Yeah, me too, but they're definitely going to get it right.
Now, the call on the floor was UConn basketball, which means you need irrefutable evidence to overturn this and send it back the other way.
And if it is UConn basketball, Villanova is going to have to foul. They're going to have to start putting UConn at the line here. Or go for the steal first and then foul. You really can't let much time go off in general.
Well, the other thing they could be checking here is whether or not the time is right. 32.3 on the clock right now. How much time can you wait trying to get a steal?
Not much. I mean, you don't get the steal, immediately foul. That next person's got to foul.
All right, so now it's the clock, and it looks about right.
Yeah, it does. I don't think they're going to do much here.
Yeah, it is Connecticut basketball.
Well, they're adding a little bit here.
0.4. They are going to add 0.4 to 32.7. And now Connecticut's going to take a timeout. So we got the stoppage for a while. And we will step away as UConn takes timeout for 30 seconds. Oriema drawing up a play with 32.7 seconds to go. His team has been pushed today by third-year Villanova coach Denise Dillon and the Wildcats. Huskies have only played one game all year, decided by 5 points or less, and it was Princeton here back in the early part of this season. They advance the ball into the front court out of the timeout. Close to a 5 seconds call, and Edwards is tied up. Oriole got her hands in there, and it's Villanova basketball.
That's the best scenario you could have asked for. It's like a steal. You go for the steal first. Instead, it was a toss-up here, and Oriole does a nice job just getting a hand on the basketball and causing the jump ball. And the referee is standing right there. And I don't think Coach Oriema thinks maybe she had the hand on the ball long enough. I'm not sure, but ball is Villanova's nonetheless.
Well, the inbounds to Segrist in the backcourt.
And you need to get a pretty quick hitter here. Doesn't have to be a three.
It is a three, and she hits.
Well, take it if you get it.
And UConn's gonna take a timeout. Lucy Olsen, ice in her veins. One possession game. Now, Lucy Olsen has been the second scorer to Maddie Segrist all year, and today no different.
She has been just performing at such a high level. That is a clutch shot, folks, if I've ever seen one. She's not afraid of the spotlight. She's not afraid of the big moments, and that's something that is the perfect 1-2 punch to Maddie Segrist. The two of them have that dynamic about them, and they've needed that today. Segrist has had a great game, although she's had to take a lot of shots to get the points she has, but Olsen has really been tremendous, just playing like she belongs here and that she's been here, and she's not afraid. But her skill set, and she's just a sophomore, 19 points, 7 boards, and 4 assists. And you know, Coach Dillon told us that her work ethic is unmatched, and it really comes through. She has that sheer will to win.
Well, if you're looking who to foul, Dorka Juhas, just a 63% free throw shooter. She's gonna inbounds. That's not the person you want to foul, but how much time do you have to let off the clock?
It looks like they're gonna go for the steal.
Got their hands in there.
The
Lopez hit a shot into the backcourt. And they have it into the hands of Edwards, and now they give the foul.
Yeah, they tried to force a turnover there.
And Denise Dillon was up by midcourt, screaming that that should have been backcourt. But the call on the floor was that she jumped from before the timeline.
And she saved it. She saved it. Yep. That was definitely a good play by Juhas, knowing where she was on the floor and getting rid of it without turning it over there.
Edwards has not missed at the line yet today.
Talk about another one with ice in her veins, and she's worked on that free throw as well in the offseason.
Is to put it back at a 2-possession game. And Villanova takes its final timeout to move it into the front court. Wildcats with a chance to send this to overtime. Villanova on a 9-game winning streak and a win in this building last year. Just 4 of 19 from 3 in this ball game, but with 10 seconds to go, they need a 3 to top.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a good 3-point shooting team, and the question always is, do you take the 2 or do you go for the throw and go for the 3? And then listen, you know Denise Dillon is drawing up a play where there's an option for both. You would certainly prefer the 3 because you've got players that can knock down the 3. I mean, you think about Brooke Mullen, who can shoot. You got Brooke Mullen, you got Maddie Burke. Actually, Maddie Burke's the one that you want to shoot the 3 here.
Maddie Burke has made 2 triples today. Lucy Olsen just
been
hit
tremendous,
one.
but if you don't have it, take the 2, and maybe you'll get fouled.
It's into the front court for Olsen. Segrist leans in. No foul called. But it is still Villanova basketball with 5.6 left.
And this was a real good defensive play from Nova. I mean, Lopez could not have been in a better position. She was there on the catch.
Absolutely touched the basketball. All in to trigger the inbounds. To Olsen in the corner. Tough three. Edwards has the rebound, and she's hit in the face and fouled with 1.7 left. That is a tough shot and a great rebound by Aaliyah Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, Edwards might have had some trouble offensively today, but she was all over the glass in the moments they needed it.
Now remember, no timeouts left for Villanova. One free throw will ice this ball game. That'll do it. Not her best game of the season, but Aaliyah Edwards coming up huge down the stretch.
She impacted the game in other ways other than just scoring, and clearly has the ice in her veins down the stretch here.
Now Villanova proved that it could hang with the top team in the Big East. But they come up 5 points short on the road as UConn comes back in the fourth from a 6-point deficit to win by 5.
And it's very impressive to me how UConn was able to withstand the kind of drought that they had to go in that third quarter. They were able to come back and still win it and play solid defense and then pull it out. But pretty impressive win here for UConn.
Huskies winning streak moves to 13, 12-0 in conference. 9-game win streak for Villanova snapped, and a wonderful game here in Hartford. Now for Julianne Vianney-Brain and our entire crew, I'm Jason Horowitz, saying so long from the XL Center where UConn wins a tough one by 5. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. We'll send you out to Richmond. St. Joe's at Richmond coming up next.